Well, 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 look who it is. It's me, actually. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm actually going to be bringing to you guys a very heavily requested video, which is actually a part 2 to a recent series that I started only 2 weeks ago, which is the top 5 hero loadouts that you need to try out. Now, of course, that video right there, the one that I created 2 weeks ago, was just 5 hero loadouts in general, but with dungeons coming back to the game, I decided to make 5 hero loadouts that you need to try out, Dungeons Edition. So we're going to be going over 5 loadouts that are usable only in dungeons. I mean, you could use them outside of dungeons if you wanted to, but I don't know why you would do that because they're meant specifically for dungeons. And these are actually very, very effective hero loadouts that, with the help of Isherwood, his link will be in the description, he is an absolute dungeon god, and he kind of guided me down the right path to creating this video because basically all he does is play dungeons. But yeah, I hope you guys are excited for today's video. Before we actually do jump into it, quick shout out to Dylan Palmer on Twitter with a ridiculous amount of support at gfuel.com. The reason it's such a big deal is that 100% of the proceeds from using my code actually go to charity, and it's a really awesome thing to see whenever you guys do huge orders like these. I really appreciate that, Dylan, and for all of you guys that end up using my code, I appreciate you too, and the people that don't. Without further ado though, let's go ahead and jump into it. Alrighty, so just like I said during the intro, today's video of course is going to be the top 5 hero loadouts that you need to try, episode 2, and this one of course is going to be the Dungeon Edition, meaning that we're going to be going over 5 dungeon specific loadouts in today's video. But I do want to mention something really quick, and that is that this video is going to be a little bit different than the last one that I made in the series. Whereas the last time I had like a few wildcard loadouts and I had like one that was just for fun or anything like that, today's video is going to be a little bit more serious whenever it comes to these loadouts, and the sole purpose of showing you these loadouts is to make you a better player overall, or to make your dungeon grinding experience just a little bit easier. So with that said, let's just go ahead and jump into it, and let's start off strong with the solo player loadout. Now this will be utilizing the commando in your commander slot. We'll be using a commando, so in this case I'm using Ramirez. You could use the Xbox exclusive one, or you could use the base game Spitfire. You want to use Happy Holidays as the team perk, and this is definitely going to be a reoccurring team perk for this video. Boomstick, First Cup of the Day, Stone Commando, Ain't Done Yet, and Survivalist. And the gadgets are more so up to you, but I got Adrenaline Rush and Stationary Hover Turret. Now don't fret if there's anything that are in any of these loadouts that you don't have. You can easily switch it out for something else, as mainly what you're going to want to have is the commander, and luckily this commander right here is in the base game. And basically what it does is it allows you to get your going commando back even faster, which is perfect if you are running dungeon solo. If you guys don't know yet, whenever you are running dungeons, the weapons that you use, the weapons that you loot off the ground, that you spawn with, that you break out of vases and chests and stuff like that, almost every single one of them is going to be nearly worthless to you unless you're playing something like Paleo Luna, which is a class that's not going to be included in today's video. Mostly whenever it comes to dungeons, and whenever it comes to completing dungeons as fast as possible, you want to be using your abilities as much as possible, and that's where this loadout comes in. You're going to be able to destroy all of the monoliths with ease using this loadout, and you're going to have your going commando up that much faster whenever you get to that next monolith, so that you can then get the husk key after you end up destroying them all, then getting the dungeon key, and then going to the next floor. And of course stuff like this is going to be helpful for the boss at the end as well. It's just that using something with a going commando cooldown on it, as well as having something like Happy Holidays if you have it, is going to be absolutely perfect if you're running solo, as you're not going to have to rely on teammates for those monoliths, and you'll be able to clean them up easily by yourself. Moving on from the solo player loadout, I'm actually going to be talking about one that's pretty much useful only for one dungeon, maybe 2 dungeons if you use a specific strategy, and that is going to be the Grotto God loadout, which will be featuring Carbide in your commander, Happy Holidays as the team perk, Escape Artist, Doppler Effect, Fleet, Space Technology, and Survivalist. Of course, the beginning of your support team is to kind of boost your shockwave a little bit. It's also going to allow you to run a little bit faster, to get throughout the dungeon a bit faster. We have Azalea Clark, which is going to boost our damage with Zip and Zap. You can also use Raven, but I believe he's bugged right now, at least with Carbide, and as well as Survivalist so that you can stay alive. This guy is absolutely perfect, especially for the Grotto whenever it comes to the end of the fight, where you have the 4 blasters. He's really good for locking one of the blasters in a box, and then just shooting around the box and allowing the Zip and Zap to absolutely shred said boss with pretty much, complete ease. You can also use this in the Labyrinth, not only only leading up to the boss, but once you get to the boss, a strategy that I like to do is cover the entire roof with any of the traps that you get along the way, and then shooting down into the arena and allowing it to bounce off the floor and the ceiling, going through the boss multiple times and dealing more damage over time. Carbide also absolutely shreds through any of the monoliths that you're going to come across, as well as big groups of enemies, as the zip and zap is very good in close quarters engagements. And I would give this guy the title of Grotto God, mainly because he can single-handedly take on all 4 bosses, and he's a must-have if you're running the Grotto. Now, moving on from this, we actually have a very specific loadout, and it might be one that you guys aren't too familiar with, but this is specifically for speed running dungeons, and of course this is the Speedrunner loadout. Now, we're going to be using Recon Scout AC in the commander. Any Recon Scout will work. I believe there's also a Recon Scout Jess that is a base game hero. You want to have the team perk Blast from the Past with Saurian Focus and Saurian Hide. You can also go with Paleo Luna just in case you get stuck with a melee weapon. You have Fleet, Strike Cost, and Phased Out with any of the gadgets that you really want. Basically, the Speedrunner is exactly as it sounds. He is going to focus on getting the keys as well as waiting at the door for whenever you are able to go to the next area. Basically, what you want to do as the Speedrunner is go as fast as you can throughout the dungeons, grabbing the key for that floor, as well as then waiting for your teammates to destroy the rest of the monoliths, and then advancing them to the next area, and then teleporting them and going as fast as possible. The reason you want to do this is because you get more tickets over time, and grinding out power level 100, power level 140 dungeons is very easy with a coordinated team, and very easy using any of the loadouts that are also in this video, as we have 2 more to go through and they're very powerful. The Speedrunner is absolutely fantastic for any coordinated team if you're trying to grind dungeons as fast as possible, and courtesy of Isherwood for getting the gameplay for me. He knows way more about these key locations than I do, and his link will be in the description. Now, moving on from that, we probably have the most useful hero loadout in all of this video, which is going to be the starter hero loadout. I know, it's very basically named, but it's perfect for any person who is starting out in dungeons. Maybe you haven't played them yet, and this is just going to be the perfect person for you. Now, you may not have Bunny Brawler Luna, and that's who's going to be in the commander slot, but do keep in mind that Easter is very close, and you will then be able to grab her during the Easter event, as well as being able to use her throughout the rest of dungeons, which I believe is going to be lasting until June if I'm not mistaken. Now, you want to have Bunny Brawler Luna with Happy Holidays in the team perk. If you don't have Happy Holidays, this is the character where it matters the least. You also can have Bang and Pow, First Cup of the Day, Snow and Commando, Boomstick, and Survivalist. Basically just a ton of stuff to buff your abilities, as well as a support slot to keep you alive. Now, the reason that Bunny Brawler Luna is so good is because she is a jack of all trades. She has a shockwave that causes eggs to fly out and further explode their enemies. She also has a lefty and righty, which is very good against groups of enemies, good against bosses, and good against monoliths. And on top of that, she also has a Going Commando, which again can be used against groups of enemies, can be used against monoliths, and can be used against bosses. The great thing about this loadout specifically, let's say you're coming up on a monolith and you need to destroy it at that point, and your lefty and righty is completely out of juice, you're gonna have your Going Commando. Or if your Going Commando is out of juice, you're gonna have your lefty and righty. If you're getting swarmed by Husk, you can then shockwave and have a further bigger explosion come off of that to keep you safe. And just the sheer hero abilities that this character has makes her absolutely perfect for any person starting out in dungeons and trying to do well and really keep up with their team. I mean, this is definitely the hero you want to play, because even if you don't have the further reduced cooldown, you still have 2 whole abilities that can be used for boss damage, monoliths, or anything like that, and it just has a huge array of diversity. And this, of course, is another loadout that is courtesy of Isherwood, and it's a very useful one. Now, moving on from this, we have the last loadout on our list, which in my opinion is the best whenever it comes to sheer firepower, and that is the Boss DPS King hero loadout. And that is exactly what it sounds like, but not only is it the king of DPS for the boss, it's the king of DPS for everything. Using Diecast Jonesy in the commander slot will give you Boomstick, which gives you an energy minigun, as well as allows it to deal extra damage. You're also going to have Happy Holidays, Survivalist, Going Again, First cup of the day, Snow and Commando, and Fight or Flight. The great thing about this hero right here is not only does he have Go and Commando, he also has Warcry. Now this is going to be at the cost of an actual shockwave, so be very careful to not get caught out by any of the husks around you, but you are going to be able to easily shred through any of the monoliths that are on the map, be able to kill them faster than pretty much anyone else in the game, as well as whenever it does get time to actually kill the boss at the end of a dungeon, you will be able to not only use a very powerful Go and Commando, but also Warcry your teammates and give them an extraordinary buff for whenever it comes down to taking out the boss and killing it as fast as possible. The Diecast Jonesy loadout is pretty much a must-have for any kind of, group that is running dungeons, the same way that the Carbide Grotto God loadout is very good for any time that you're running the Grotto. I think that this guy is absolutely insane, and after playing with him for a little bit, I see why he's so good, seeing as we're able to melt the bosses in extremely fast amounts of time. Not only that, but also making the monoliths extremely easy as well. So every single one of these loadouts, you're probably going to notice a pattern is pretty much a soldier aside from the speedrunner, and that is just because lefty and righty and Go and Commando are very dominant for dungeons, and you can use them in very different ways depending on the commander that you're using. Now you can use other loadouts, like I said at the beginning of the video. This video is specifically to make you very good at dungeons and allow things to be handled a lot easier, but you don't have to use any of the loadouts in this video. I mean, dungeons are dungeons. They don't have to be taken super seriously if you don't want to. You can use stuff like the Blake Beard Stash loadout, you can use stuff like Paleo Luna, you can just use pretty much anything you want and you'll still find success eventually. But if you want to get dungeons done the fastest way possible and the easiest way possible, with a vast array of different options for you whenever it does come to tackling these challenges, then I hope that this video did help you out in some way, especially that starter hero and that solo player loadout. I think that's going to resonate with a lot of you guys. But aside from that, the Grotto God should make the Grotto a little bit easier for all of you, and the Boss DPS King should definitely help out a lot whenever it comes to the end of your dungeon endeavors. Aside from that, we even have the Speedrunner, but even myself, I'm not really that good to even run this class, so yeah, I just threw him in there just to let you guys know in case you're crazy enough to play it. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it for the video, and that is it for the top 5 loadouts that you need to try Dungeons Edition, and this is the episode 2 of the series. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below of this video. I hope that it was helpful. I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.